Hi lovelies, so welcome back to this channel. If you're new here, my name is Belinda's channel. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Don't forget to please subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications so that anytime I upload a video, you will be the first person to be notified. And to my returning subscribers, to those people that share my videos, to my channel members, you guys are the real MVP. Alright lovelies, let's dive into this.
I came across this video on my For You page on TikTok, and of course I thought to share with you guys where this pan-colored woman, actually opened up to the fact that, aggressive and all of that is actually in your DNA. Like, this got me like thinking out loud, and a lot of people actually, stitch her video. She was actually saying the respect of what really happened in this school like Georgia. I'm just going to roll the clip as well as some of other stitches I was able to put together. Please leave me your own thoughts and let's dive into it.
For those who don't know, it has been scientifically proven that the trauma of enslavement is weaved into the DNA of Black people in the diaspora from the transatlantic slave trade. And in America, that was just a couple generations ago. So if they can have weaved into their DNA trauma, how do you think white people in this country who have massacred, colonized, genocided, and enslaved numerous groups of people, wiped certain groups off the face of the earth, okay? How do you think that's affected our DNA? When whiteness and maleness does not offer these reject children the privileges that they believed in on a cellular level that they are owed, they rebel in the biggest way possible, in the most traumatic way possible, to hurt as many people as possible, to say a big F you to the society that they believe is disenfranchising them. It is a pathology, it is psychological, it is social, and it is historical.
This is confusing to you by design because this is not explained to us or taught to us very well, because we're taught a civil rights discourse about race, which is like, everyone is equal, forget about skin color, right? So I'm gonna tell you what the facts are, and there will be no going back and forth because this is just how it is. So race is based off of phenotype. So on sight, when you see someone, you can tell their race. This is why white passing is not a thing. If you're white passing, you're white. You benefit from white privilege. Race is constructed based on the society in which you live in. So in America, we live in a society where we just started this society like 350 years ago. We enslaved people for 250 of those years, and our society has built up a certain racial hierarchy based on our historical context. Your race can be different from your ethnicity. You can be white and Yugoslavian. You can be white and be Russian. You can actually be white and be Cuban. You can be white and be French. Like, I can go on and on and on. Same with being Black. You can be Black and be Jamaican. You can be Black and be Kenyan. You can be Black and be a Black American. But Black Americans are not connected to their ethnicity because they were stolen from their land of origin. So when we're having racial, social conversations about race, this is the context in which it exists. It is a sociological, historical context, and it is completely devoid of any biological or scientific proof because our DNA and everything shows that we are all basically the same. And it is also devoid of ethnicity conversations, although that there can be a Venn diagram of race and ethnicity. So yeah, when I'm talking about white Americans and Black Americans, I am talking about this system in which we currently live, and it does apply 100%.
To ever happened in the United States, of course, and it happened in 1853 in Louisville, Kentucky. The victim was a teacher and the perpetrator was found not guilty. Let's get started and learn something new. Historical is right. Behind me is a list of all the school shootings that have happened since the 1800s. You can pause to read some of these stories. If I let this go on until the 1940s, this video would be 5 minutes long. I'll put a link in the comments so you can read about the school shootings and the motives behind them, but we're going to talk about one particular school shooting that happened in 1853. We got to take it on back to 1853 to Louisville, Kentucky, where a teacher named William H.G. Butler was teaching his students, and two gentlemen came in demanding to speak to him. Their names were Matt and Robert Ward, and they approached Mr. Butler saying, "I have a matter to settle with you." Some words were exchanged. Witnesses were trying to peek here and there. Ward called Butler a damn liar, and then Robert reached for a Bowie knife, and there was some movement and some hustling. Kids were hiding behind Mr. Butler. Matt Ward had concealed a pew-pew in his coat pocket, and he brought it out and shot Mr. Butler directly in the chest. 12 students watched in horror. The ward scattered off and left the school. Mr. Butler was lifted up by several of his own students and taken to a nearby house. A doctor was summoned, but he did not make it through, and he died after hours of suffering. Matt Ward, who was 28, and his father was a 6-time Kentucky state representative who lived in the $80,000 mansion with 9 enslaved black people, was arrested along with his brother, who was 19 years old. The reason why Matt Ward was upset with Mr. Butler is because Mr. Butler gave his other brother 5 or 6 licks with a leather strap the previous day in school after being caught eating chestnuts in class. Teachers from all over the country came to Mr. Butler's funeral, and in 1854 the trial started, and it had to be moved from Louisville to another town called Elizabethtown because of the public outcry. Now let's get to this non-guilty verdict. So fast forward to the prosecution. The prosecution portrayed Mr. Butler as a kind man who devoted his life to education. The proof was in the pudding. It was in his resume. He helped tutor kids. He was a teacher for years. One by one, his students testified how he helped them. Now we're going to get to Matt Ward. Now Matt Ward, the morning of the shooting, decided to buy 2 self-cocking pew-pews the morning of the shooting at a local gun store, and it had a history of violent threats and angry letters to teachers. The prosecution ended with the fact that it was impossible that Mr. Butler would try to fight him because Mr. Butler could not make his hand into a fist because he had a childhood injury that caused him to have to keep his hands straight. Now, the defense argued, well, Matt Ward was a Harvard graduate, a young author, and was peaceful, gentle, and kind. And like Butler, he suffered from infirmity, rheumatism, which caused him to have a crutch in court. The defense called some 70 witnesses, including 2 sitting members of Congress, for Matt Ward. In a weird revelation, they found out that Mr. Butler had been a private tutor for the Ward family for years. And the trial was a mess too. People were fainting at the stand, crying, weeping. Folks were blaming kids about lying. They saying they was being bribed. It was just a mess. Now fast forward to the closing argument. Now Mr. Ward's lawyer said he had shot in self-defense and that the blood that flows in his veins has come down from those noble pioneers who laid the foundations for the greatness and glory of our state. And in April 1854, the jury issued its verdict. Not guilty. When that verdict was handed down, the town went crazy. They literally ran the Ward family out of Louisville. A mob approaching 8,000 people burned Ward and his defense team in effigy outside the Ward mansion. Windows were broken, and the mob threatened to put the torch to other buildings. Ward was eventually forced to escape to Arkansas to live on the family cotton plantation. Here's what a newspaper clipping had to say about Mr. Butler. He fell by the hand of violence in the presence of his loving pupils, a martyr to his fidelity in the discharge of his duty. In a weird turn of events, less than 10 years later, Ward was walking out of his plantation, and he saw a group of Confederate soldiers raiding his land and trying to take his enslaved people. When Ward ran out to stop them, he was wearing a blue coat, which might have made them think he was a Union soldier. He was killed by a bullet from a gun. I hope you learned something new.
To the commentator that took the stitch of that woman's video, first and foremost, I'm tired of you people keep on speaking for us. Don't speak for us. If you cannot try to write a letter to Congress, to the federal government, write petition or boycott or make a petition for us to get reparations, then we don't want nothing from you. Okay? And that's the problem. Everybody keeps on listening to stitches of their bullshit. Psychological, then the native indigenous can say the same thing too. All the terrorism, shootings, massacres, lynching, path of destruction, wars came from the DNA, from the Caucasian DNA. Yes. If you look at history, you guys created nothing but war. You claim that you left England or your European country because you wanted peace and you wanted independence. You wanted the option to have the right for religion, speech, and not to pay taxes. And you got tired of the mental and physical cruelty that England was in capturing y'all and many other countries that you guys were living under, because you was under the UK and European and monarchy sector, and you wanted freedom. But meanwhile, you came over there, and I don't believe that whole entire story. I believe you guys were a team of missionaries, and you were sending information to to your predecessor, to your superior, and letting them know what was going on, because that's the same thing happened in Hawaii. When you guys were these so-called missionaries going over there to seek help and trying to find out the people that, no, you wanted to check out, surveil the place, and you saw what they were doing. Then meanwhile, you turn around, put the people them in bondage, segregated their children, talking about, oh, they need to learn how to speak English and this and all kind of stuff, and remove away from their culture, and had the kids them in these boarding house dorms and ill-treating them, and make them segregate and brainwash them and tell them that their parents are dead. Yeah, I heard some of the stories. And then even when the children were speaking their language, you used to beat them to death. Okay, you separated the men from the women, from the children. I heard some stories and I read some books. Okay, then the next minute you had families owning bananas and pineapple. And next minute they claimed that they were building schools and doing all of this stuff. But guess what? The people that wasn't even allowed to be in their own parish. So stop telling us about our history. We know our history very well. Psychological, being in our DNA, yes, because we read stuff. Not just looking at movies. We read stuff that they were supposed to teach us in school, but they don't want to teach us because they didn't want to see the skeletons that was in the closet.
Like seriously,
Okay?
as we all know, I think yesterday was
you guys
the
keep on saying that Haitian
presidential debate between Kamala and Trump, and this got a lot of people reacting. This is a period in which people are choosing sides now. This is the period at which people have been waiting for. Like a lot of people were
and our ancestors are calling you. I was reading a book where the book was telling me they were literally, if they had a promising slave, like somebody like Nat Turner. You know why you can't know what Nat Turner's body is? Because y'all turned around and chopped up his body, amputated it, okay? Contaminated, and then you turned around and they boiled the body and they ate it. You need to read the book. There's several books that talk about the cannibalism in the colonial time. When they couldn't survive off of each other, they were eating each other. They were doing research studies in Roanoke, Connecticut. They were saying that the massacre took place with the indigenous destroying them, but they couldn't find the bodies. Come to find out they were eating each other. Okay? Then you turn around and saying, oh, Haiti is doing that. Okay? Because the thing is, you guys can't do too much with Haiti. Now you want to bring Jamaica, West Indies to get involved with Haiti's crisis. And then you get Kenya involved in Haiti's crisis. Not to change the subject. Okay? After you guys turn around and took the people them resources, then you hear people getting mad saying the immigrants of Haitians are coming there, and it's multiple immigrants coming there because this same country from history had robbed other people's country and natural resources. So people shouldn't get mad. They should get mad at the government, not the immigrants, the government. Okay? If you go from Reagan's years, you go from Nixon's time, you go from Franklin, the two Roosevelts, okay? Even with Woodrow Wilson, you go all the way to George Washington, even to Abraham Lincoln, when he used to travel around. Y'all was doing complaining that you was doing defense something. It wasn't no defense. Even the Obama administration. And he had 2 terms. The Trump administration, okay, Biden administration, all of y'all. You went there and stole the people them natural resources. Made them cash poor where their value of their money is not even worth anything. Okay? Then you talking about the DNA and the psychological and the this and everything. Yes. If you turn around and did this to our ancestors, and I don't know how the hell they survived, because you guys did mental and physical cruelty. So when you're sitting there saying stuff that you learned from a textbook in college and trying to break it down, because you're probably doing your research study as a PhD, okay? It's the same way how you guys went to King Tut's tomb and tried to go in his sarcophagus and taking out stuff out of there. And then the scorpions had to come and bite your ass because at the end of the day, you was being nosy. So I would like the people in the Caucasian community to stop talking about our history. Because when you guys are doing it, it's like a mockery. You're not helping us, okay? You're not helping us. And even with the Caribbeans, I don't want to see no Caucasian telling me about my culture in Jamaica or Panama or Cuba, okay? Because you guys are the same ones from your ancestors, if you go way back, are the ones that colonized and derised our people. Okay, and then your people had problems, but you come over to our place and we give you bread. But as soon as you guys get successful, you take everything we own, from country music, from rap music, from all types of genre, even from storylines, things that we invented. You get to find out that it was a black man that did the lights. There was a black woman that did this security. It was a woman that turned around and had cells that can basically help people heal from other diseases. It was a black man that did the refrigerator. It was a black man who did the assembly line for shoes. The original man that did the lights, not no Thomas Graham Bell. He stole it. Like Elon Musk, when he be stealing stuff and then trying to make ideas and saying and trying to talk as if he knows what he's doing. No, you guys been doing that for years. And then you come talking about the DNA and the diaspora and the this and all kind of stuff. Most of the mass shootings is coming from people from the Caucasian community. Only a few of us went, and because we was in a cult or we got tired of it and they started shooting people. Okay, if you look at some of the back into the criminal cases, and guess what? You guys will get invested in jail and get protection, in jail after you finish killing off innocent people. Okay? And then meanwhile, the only part that got me with Camilla when she talked about the gun thing. I mean, how you have a gun and you see the mass shootings that's happening in this world. Okay? And they all come up with that speech. Oh, we have a gun. I do target practice. Yeah, but I don't see you doing reckless things. Like I said, don't talk about us unless we get our reparations. And I mean the real reparations are going all the way back. And we don't need nobody to be no advocate for us from now on. Even, and I'm speaking for the people in the Caribbean too. Sick and tired of y'all keep on talking about our culture, our language, and trying to think that you can analyze us. I don't see no black person talk about European history, okay? Or talk about Caucasian history. No, we talk about our own history, and we keep it like that.
Like, seriously, Lovelace, I totally agree with, the lady, Pe.Ple. I think this is a DNA thing. So I think she's been making a video about what really happened in Georgia, about the 14-year-old little boy that decided to go to school and do whatsoever he felt on his own right sense that it was actually good for him to do that, and which have actually turned the whole of internet upside down. A lot of people with their reasons and everything in between and all of that. So somebody now left a comment in her in her video, which I stitched, and she was like, she thinks that something like being violent and aggressive and all of that is in their DNA, which the Pe.Ple. lady decided to speak on that issue on the comment. And she went ahead to talk about how if black people in the diaspora have this have suffered, have all of the about slavery and what really happened during that time and the trauma from slavery, which automatically might be in their DNA. What makes people think that the said people who put these other people in such position won't have that violent, controlling, all of the characteristic that these people, these pan-colored people had during the slavery time, during the how controlling they are, how they want to put on everyone underneath them, how they want to be in charge and all of that. What makes people think that even up to date, they won't still have that DNA of trying to subdue people, try to control people, try to, be, aggressive towards people, try to be in control. Don't want people to take over. They just want to be at the top. They just want to like have that DNA of trying to enslave someone, which I think she's actually hitting the nail on its head. Like seriously, no one, speaks about that. With all of the things that is going on, with all of the, school pupils that is going on and all of that, I have not even seen, a lot of people, especially pan-colored people, coming out to talk about how, oh, pan-colored women need to raise their kids very well. Oh, pan-colored dad need not to be aggressive in the front of their kid. Like, why are such videos not being made? Because I can actually remember vividly the way at which black women are called out anytime maybe their kid did something, or their kid actually made one or two mistakes. They have to like call, oh my God, the mom, the black woman didn't raise the child well. The black woman this, the black woman that, black child this, black child like. Why am I not even seeing the same energy on this issue? Why are they not calling out pan-colored women to teach them how to raise their kids? Why are they not calling pan-colored men to tell them not to be aggressive in the front of their kids? Why only black men receive, oh my God, black people don't know how to, they're not family oriented. Black women, oh my God, baby mama, all this. Why am I not seeing the same energy being given back to pan-colored women, who decided not to raise their own properly? Who decided to allow, their husbands to be so aggressive, at the front of their kids, resulting to a child being so, traumatized with all of the shouting and all of the, like, what is stopping people from dragging these pan-colored women and dragging their husbands just the way black women have been dragged, black men have been dragged? I am not even seeing the same energy. Seriously, why can't they do that? Of course they cannot, because anything that is done, by these people is actually, oh my God, the society. But when is the other way around? Oh my goodness, the internet will be shaking by now. Seriously, lovelies, I really understand where she's coming from. If black people still face that trauma, that's being traumatized, being enslaved and all of that, anytime you talk about or maybe use the N-word, you see the way at which it makes black people like, oh my God, you don't need to do that. It is in the DNA. What makes people think that the people that actually committed the atrocity won't be in their DNA? Huh? And I also understand the fact that the other sister, black sister, I stitch her video talking about how, they keep on talking, procrastinating without trying to do something, without trying to like write some petition on how to give reparation. Like, I have seen countless of pan-colored people doing wonderful job, coming out to use their voices, their entire blackness and all, the entire ANC and all of that. So, but what is stopping these, pan-colored people from actually truly coming out to talk about, okay, now we need to set up a petition of, okay, are we going to, what is happening? Let's set up a petition, either a yes or no, for, reparation, for these people to collect reparations. Like, what is actually stopping? So I wouldn't even blame this sister if she's so, tired of hearing them complaining, speaking for black people and all of that. Black people are tired. Like, they want people to do something. They want action. You see, action speak more louder than voice. Like, what is stopping that? I have seen, a good number at least, even if it's still in the 10%, at least the 10% can start up, then it will pave way for other lesser percentage to join. And At least to start from there, to start off from somewhere, instead of just constantly coming online to, oh my god, black people, oh, what happened, this is what happened to black people, like, is there a time that they can, just come out and actually speak for these black people and actually, okay, I think it's time for them to, receive reparations. What are they going to do about it and all of that? Like, and this should be talked about during this election period and all of that. Seriously, love this. So when I saw this video, I was like, okay, I think she's making a lot of sense. If this thing is still in the DNA, that still makes black people to like some type of way when you're like, no, don't do that. This is, you know how it is when someone even uses the N word on you. You feel some type of, oh my god, no, you don't have to do. It's just the DNA talking because of that trauma, because of, even if you are not there present, it's already in your DNA. It's making you to boy. What makes you think that it won't, the other people that committed the real atrocity, they won't have such DNA in their generation and generation yet to born? Seriously. Anyway, lovelies, why not just leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video, and please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We just here for educational and informative purposes. And please, if you don't subscribe to this channel, do you get a huge favor to click on the subscription button, like this video, share, and I will give it. See you, lovelies, when I open.
And if you have watched up to this extent, thank you so much for all the love and support. Why not just leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video, and please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying, harassment, or whatsoever. We're just here for educational and informative purposes. Alright, lovely, please share this video, subscribe, and I will see you, lovelies, when I upload the next one.